Yeah, Glenn, stop with the clickbait. And while you're at it, no advertising meant at all. Yes, Glenn, yes, you're supposed to do this all for free. We all know you're such a rich dude. I mean, golly gee, you get to travel between the US and Canada all the time, and we know you travel on your own private jet.
Yeah, good point. How dare I try and make a living at this?
Sampling over real drums is stupid, but actually programming drums does take talent.
Really? Copying and pasting your 4-bar things? That takes talent? It's about as much talent as cooking a TV dinner in an oven! Seriously, fuck yourself.
How do I tell my singer he's shit at singing? He's also the guitarist and the only other member in my band, and I really don't want to be mean because he really loves singing.
You can make him watch this video. I'll do the honors for you. Hey, Mirko's guitar player. You're shit at singing. Time to take some lessons. Might I suggest The Zen of Screaming by Melissa Cross, or go check out Mary Zimmer. She's got a couple online courses. She also does some one-on-one teaching. I do believe she's from the band Helion Prime. Awesome person, great vocalist. Definitely recommend taking some lessons. That's the thing, I just don't get it why so many vocalists are terrified of taking lessons, like they'll actually fucking learn something. I just don't see the logic in that. If you want to sing, take some fucking lessons.
Glenn, you should make a video where you check out Reddit, like r/audio engineering.
I would, but they really hate my guts on there. I did Merciless Metal Mix reviews there a couple years ago, and I reviewed a kid's mix, and it was really bad, and I thought he was trolling us, so I said that, and he freaked the fuck out and said I was going to ruin his career, then started like a 6-page thread, saying what an asshole I was, and all these other people jumped in saying what an asshole I was, so I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll just stay out of our audio engineering. You know what? I'm not going to go where I'm not wanted. Yeah, that's the price you pay for being honest.
I find it a little weird to be pro-amp sound but anti-drum samples. It's pretty much the same thing but a different instrument.
Dreamside Productions. Are you fucking mental? How the hell are drum samples like amp sims? Here's the big difference. And I've said this numerous times that obviously you're too dense to pay attention, but one more time. Maybe if I talk slowly, it might sink in. When you run an amp sim, you've still got the musician. You've got that guitar player's performance. You're not altering that in any way. You've still got the musician there. All you're changing is the engineering that goes in between the musician and what's coming out of the speaker. You're changing out the amp, the impulse response, all that kind of stuff. You're substituting your engineering for a better engineer. When you do drum samples, you're not just doing the engineering bit, you're also replacing the musician, because somebody actually has to hit those drums when they are sampled, and that's usually a better musician. So you're not actually hearing your drummer on your recording, you're hearing somebody else playing samples that are triggered back. So yes, your drummer really does go bye-bye when that happens. Amp sims, not so much. We still hear the person. That's the thing. There's no substitute for real human performance. And this is why a lot of bands kind of sound the same, because guess what? All the drums are played by the same guy. See the difference now?
LOL, washed up old fart alert. It's not like you're a mixing genius, Glenn. Your stuff just sucks. It sounds like it was recorded in some guy's basement or garage. Oh wait, lol, the joke's itself. Please never use drum samples in the end. It's less competition for us, LOL.
I wouldn't worry about that anyway. I don't think samples are going to be on my agenda anytime soon. You want to sound just like everybody else? Knock yourself out. I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
I wonder if you'll ever come around on drums. There's nothing about Superior Drummer and electronic kit that's different than real drums other than how much simpler it is.
Hey, Arsenic, how long have you been sailing down the River Denial?
Hi Glenn, is it considered cheating if I cut up certain sections of the guitar track and adjust them to be more on-tempo even if I am not using audio warping or any other time-corrected tools? Also, how do you usually decide when you use analog gear or plugins in your mixes? Does it depend on how big the project is or purely based on what your mood is?
Okay, first and foremost, that's a word I've never used, is quote-unquote cheating. When you chop up a guitar player's tracks to time align them, you are altering that performance. We are no longer hearing the guitar player, we're hearing the guitar player plus whatever digital fuckery you are throwing on there. I know you're not using warping or shit like that, but it's still bullshit. I mean, would it really kill you to leave the guitar player in? Maybe hear how the musician actually fucking played? Just because there's a grid there doesn't mean everything has to snap to it. We never used to do that, and we got the most incredible music ever out of those records. These days, not so much. Why is this so fucking difficult for people to understand? I just don't fucking get that. As for using analog gear, I've got a lot of analog comps at home, some cheap ones, some expensive ones, great. I don't use them as much as I wish I could because plugins are just so damn convenient, and I was developing a system for doing real-time mixing, that kind of stuff, with analog gear, and I was starting to get some really cool results too. Unfortunately, I had to come down here, so we're building out the room over the next couple weeks, and I'm hoping to get some more cool analog stuff in and just try it out, because it's definitely a different flavor than a lot of plugins. And I've got a couple of very interesting videos coming up on that subject where we shoot plugins out against analog stuff, and we show you guys the difference and how it does affect your mix.
Hey, you talk about getting drummers to hit correctly, so I was wondering if you could do a demo explaining the proper way to hit the drums. Thanks.
I think I could do that. In the meantime, I'd definitely recommend check out how to record heavy drums, like especially part 0, where I talk about setup and how to set the kit up for recording properly, where it's just basically spacing things out a little bit so you'll get cleaner recordings. But it really comes down to rim shot technique and just a little bit of something I like to call finesse. Most drummers went, huh? Stick make noise. Seriously, working with the drummer and working on his hit strength on the shells and a lighter touch on the cymbals and like painting circles and all that. Yeah, I think I probably should do a dedicated episode on that. Maybe I can get a drummer down here at some point. We're still cleaning out the drum room and getting everything kind of arranged and set up. So I'm looking forward to that. It might be a week or two before I can do it, but I will definitely put that in the pipe. I think that's a really great idea. Thanks for the suggestion.
I had to put a layer of drum samples on a record. I spent months before the recording session telling the drummer to pay attention at performance dynamics and practice with a metronome. The result? A drum performance so fucking awful that is unsalvageable even with a transient designer's editing, too much time, dynamic fluctuation, and inconsistency. There would have been more chances to record a decent performance by shooting the drums with a toy gun from a mile. Damn, I hate the sound of samples on final records, but the band ran out of budget and can't re-record the drums, so samples were the last trick up my sleeve.
Hey dude, I share your pain. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much you scream at the drummer, he still doesn't fucking practice because, you know, hey, you're gonna make me a rock star, that kind of shit. It happens. But I have to compliment you on your work ethic. You took drum samples as a last resort, not as a first fucking choice! That's my biggest complaint of all, is not so much the fact that you had to use samples. It's that so many of us out there just immediately gravitate to, close enough, we'll throw samples on it, it'll be fine. Again, it all comes back to the same drummer or same 2 or 3 drummers all playing the same records because they did all the same fucking samples. And that's the thing. You want to make your record boring, put samples on it. It's pretty much guaranteed to make it happen that way. There is absolutely nothing exciting about copying and pasting double kick runs. It's just not exciting in the least. Leave the fucking drummer in, if you can. In your case, sorry, you got an idiot. You got to do what you got to do. The band's paying you. You got to produce results. But for the rest of you guys out there, drum samples should be the absolute last choice you have before ever putting it on a record. Capture the band, not the bullshit.
Me, a metalhead in love with death metal. My parents, metal is for the devil, don't play metal. How do I convince them to accept my music tastes?
You don't. You're never going to change their minds. That is the whole point about religious fanatics. You can't fucking reason with them. Religion doesn't change when the evidence is presented. Religion just digs its heels in deeper and goes, oh, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. That's basically dealing with a religious person. So my suggestion would be don't play it around your parents, keep your mouth shut, and just keep counting the days till you get to move out on your own and do what the fuck you want to do. Sorry, dude, but that's the truth of it.
I don't get people who complain about the ads for your lessons. It's not like you're shilling for Raid Shadow Legends or some other scam hole of a fucking company. At least the product you're selling has a fucking purpose.
I'll admit, last year I did 2 ads for Raid Shadow Legends. I didn't know it was a scam hole of a company. I've never really heard it described that way. I thought it was kind of neat, but hey, whatever. Lesson learned. That was the thing. A few people did bitch. Oh, you're doing sponsorships with this company. You're doing sponsorships with that company. So I developed a few of my own products and then partnered up with a couple of like-minded people to sell our own things. I thought that would be cool. A few people are like, oh, you're selling too many lessons. But this is the thing. I mean, like, I originally wanted Patreon to fund Fearless Gear Reviews, and it's always just kind of been borderline about getting fully funded. You guys bought so many lessons that I'm going to be able to do Fearless Gear Reviews at least once a month for the next, I don't know, year or something like that, at least. So yeah, the lesson thing really did work out, and a lot of you guys got some amazing lessons on guitar tone and miking amps and Reaper and all that kind of cool stuff. And we've got a bunch more coming out, and that seems to be a win-win for everybody. I know you guys love the Fearless Gear Reviews, but those are independently funded, and I have to pay for that gear out of my own pocket. So lessons it is. I hope you guys approve of that methodology anyway. Let me know. Leave a comment below. I want to hear what you think.
For the person talking about samples now being the industry standard, Ted Nugent's song Stranglehold was recorded in one take from Rod Grange, bass player. The song was recorded live in one take, and Ted was spontaneous and spot on, mastering the guitar solo on the first run through. When we finished, the 4 of us stood there stunned, knowing we had just cut a true keeper. My point, that used to be industry standard. Also note, he writes he used a fresh set of strings.
What's it been, like 35, 40 years since Stranglehold came out. That was an amazing piece of music. Say what you will about Ted Nugent and his politics. I get it. You know, he's a little abrasive at the very least. That was a masterful track, and people still listen to that song to this day. That was definitely lightning in a bottle. That was a really fucking cool song. If you never heard it, I highly recommend checking it out. And that's the thing. That's how they used to do records. They used to do them with the band jamming on the floor. There's no fucking time alignment. There's no sample replacement. It's just musicians playing at their absolute best and capturing something amazing. I miss that. I miss that a lot.
Glenn, longtime sub. First official question. I definitely heard that the Transformer is the weak link in a 57. That being said, do you have any experience with modded 57 where the Transformer has been replaced with something more desirable? If so, is it worth the money to have an Ultimate 57 or is it just pixie dust? Thanks and fuck you, Slim.
Haven't been called that in a while. Anyway, yes, if somebody's bullshitting you that they can tell the difference, you know, just by listening to a track without being told that 57 has a Transformer, it's been removed. Yeah, okay. We believe you too. I've fucked around with some 57 mods. I don't know if it makes that big of a difference. I mean, like, honestly, if you're micing guitar amps, just moving your mic a couple of millimeters is gonna have far more of a difference on the overall sound and tone than changing the transformer out would. And if you really want to try a couple different things, you know, try out a couple different microphones, like the Lewitt. I think it's the DTP 440. It's their snare mic. It's also a really good alternative to the 57. Thomann has the MB75, which is a little bit slightly different flavored 57, and Audix has the i5 as well. You're gonna get far more interesting results getting those products rather than taking a transformer out of a 57. And just, I don't even see the fucking point. There's so many great alternatives out there. Yeah, it's just, don't fuck up your mics, kids.
This perspective might be totally askew, but from watching all his videos, I'm getting the idea Glenn would prefer a world without drummers, bassists, and singers. Additionally, if the guitarists could stay home, then Glenn would actually get some work done, and that would be a refreshing change.
Well, I always said this job would be a lot more fun if it weren't for the fucking musicians. Anyway, that's this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hitting that fucking subscribe button. And if you don't like the show, hit it anyway. I'll see you guys next week.